Good morning. Welcome to Unit 2 on the Industrial Revolution and Imperialism. Unit 2, you'll be able to use a lot of the context you already have in history, the context around American history with the Industrial Revolution and our brief study last year on American imperialism into the Philippines. That helps with the context in understanding this next unit. However, this next unit is about primarily Europe and England, as you can see on this slide. Why does the Industrial Revolution begin in England? So the American Industrial Revolution, as you studied last year, there's really two of them. One that began in 1830 and then the next that began in the 1880s. However, 100 years earlier, the Industrial Revolution and the template for an Industrial Revolution is going to start in England. So why does it begin in England in 1750? There'll be multiple reasons, similar to the American Revolution. However, the context is much, much different. The railroad and steam engines do not exist in England. They're developed out of England. All of that comes from England. But when the Industrial Revolution comes about, they don't have a railroad to move the goods around, nor do they have steam power. However, this Industrial Revolution will eventually lead to the development of steam power and other great inventions. The birth of science, as we saw, is going to really help spur on this Industrial Revolution in Great Britain. But we also see a larger urban population that is going to take place that allows for the expansion of factory life and factories to grow, which is going to lead to more and more jobs, but more and more products that are also being produced. So the definition of the Industrial Revolution is a period from the 1700s to the 1800s where we see major changes. Changes and a shift from an agrarian economy or a farming economy into more of a manufacturing economy. So you're going to see this in Europe, you're going to see this in the United States also. The biggest reasons why it starts in England and not France, not Germany, not the United States is the fact that England is this small island and they are connected through many canals. Canals are essentially these small, narrow waterways that allowed these small cities to be connected. So it was quick transportation networks in which they could also move a large amount of goods. They also had shallow coal and an abundant amount of iron ore. Iron ore eventually, as we all know, leads to the steel production, but this idea of coal and burning coal, which we'll eventually see as their power and a power for steam, is going to very much take place. They also have a stable government, a government that does not have revolution like we saw in France, the United States, as we studied in Haiti. So because they are not revolting, because they are stable within their political structure, this allows for their economy to grow. They also had many colonies, the U.S. being one of those previously, but throughout the world that allowed for a multiple opportunity for raw materials to come back to England. They had many innovations and a growing population. As you can see, the Industrial Revolution leads to population growth, but also population growth helps spur on Industrial Revolution. So you can see that the population over the course of 100 years triples in Great Britain. In London, it more than triples. And you can see this shift from an agricultural population, so the rural families, to then the urban, very much so. So 75% of the population by 1850 lived in cities in Great Britain. That helps with a cheap source of labor. So as I explained a bit earlier, here are the other more specific reasons why the revolution begins in Great Britain. And here's the areas of coal fields on this map and the iron deposits that you can see. But if you were to look at a map of canals, you would see that it crisscrosses England, and it links these cities together, which allows for the movement of coal, iron, but eventually cotton to these factories to produce textiles. Child labor, as we remember from American history, is very much still prevalent and abused and used in Great Britain, much so in the coal mines, primarily because these coal mine shafts were small. And so then therefore children are going to be used to move this coal up and down the mine shafts. The big industry that just explodes in England is the textile industry. So textiles are your bed linens, your sheets, your towels, your shirts, anything of cloth in production. This is done through cotton. Cotton does not grow native to Great Britain, but it will grow greatly in India. Indian cotton and Indian textiles have been demanded in all parts of the world for a long period of time, but also their American colonies and the colonies in the Caribbean are going to supply cotton. That cotton is seen as a raw material and will be brought back to Great Britain to be spun into various types of cloth. Now, they needed various types of inventions to help really spur on the production of these textiles to make them more efficient. When the production of these goods became more efficient, we all know that the price can go down and more people can have access to these new goods. The next big piece that we're going to look into is the idea of acquisition of new territories, new countries, known as imperialism, to help drive this industrial revolution further.